Cycle of violence continues in Nigeria's northeast as 5 are killed and several others injured in suicide bomb attack on Maiduguri's outskirts. Nigeria makes contingency plans against novel coronavirus, taking first steps of screening arriving passengers from China and other infected countries. On the foreign scene, the day is here. Later tonight, Britain will become a formal member of the European Union as Brexit kicks in. And in sport, National Basketball Association to honor late Kobe Bryant with a new NBA All-Star Game format.
This is ANN News.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. The cycle of violence in Nigeria's northeast region has not abated. 5 persons are killed and several others injured in a suicide bomb attack in Munagauti, a town on the outskirts of Borno State capital, Maiduguri. Eyewitnesses say the explosions were set off by 2 suicide bombers in a crowded area of the town. An early explosion took place at Muna Garage and caused many to panic. Boko Haram suicide bombers had also attacked a mosque in Gwaza on Sunday, killing a 12-year-old child and leaving many injured. The cycle of violence is not limited to Borno State. Kaduna is dealing with its own share. The state government says it has beefed up security around Rigasa train station, where kidnappers abducted travelers and shot others last Saturday. Many were injured and several others were abducted after arriving at the train station from Abuja. State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arunwa, assured local residents the government is doing everything to ensure they are safe while he visited the crime area. He was at the train station on Thursday to ascertain security measures put in place there after the attacks. The attack happened at night on the link road between the airport and the railway station. Osun State High Court has sentenced to death by hanging 3 persons who were involved in a bank robbery there 3 years ago. In February 2016, Nuhu Jimo, Ndubisi David and Aderibigbe Oluwaseun were reported to have been armed and to have coordinated the simultaneous robbery attack on First Bank, Union Bank and Sky Bank, which were located on the same street in Ikirun. 3 response units, Iragbiji Police Division, Ikirun Police Patrol Team and Special Anti-Robbery Squad were present at the scene and exchanged fire with the armed robbers. Police said some of the armed robbers were killed while others ran away. The 3 that were sentenced to death are the only ones apprehended. Guns recovered from them were forfeited to the Nigeria Police and money recovered were forfeited to Osun State government. The novel coronavirus disease has been devastating in China, its country of origin. Now more than 15 countries are reportedly infected. African countries are doing what they could to forestall the entry of the disease to the continent. Nigeria is preparing contingency plans against the killer virus, just like the rest of the continent. Reporter Deji Badmos tells us more.
If there's one Nigerian city that is vulnerable to the coronavirus, it is Lagos. The city is home to the country's busiest airport and seaports, and so it's the main port of entry for most foreigners flying into Nigeria. Many Nigerian businessmen from here travel to China and other parts of Southeast Asia for business. It's for these and other reasons that authorities of the city say they're on heightened alert against the coronavirus surfacing here.
We're in contact with the federal port health authorities every day. We're making sure that all flights that are coming in from Southeast Asia, either direct or through some other connection point, like in the Middle East or in East Africa. We are particularly astute to the passengers that are coming off the flights, and we cannot really isolate one ethnic group from another and pay undue attention. We just need to screw in everybody that is coming in on those kinds of flights.
Lagos was hit by the Ebola virus in 2014 when an infected Liberian man flew into the city. In the 3 months that health authorities here battled the virus to a standstill, 7 persons died and 19 got infected. Authorities don't want a repeat of that with the coronavirus.
We've been building capacity in Lagos because the Ebola outbreak really scared us. So we have now what's called the biosecurity unit, where we had the Ebola patients and where we have our TB and HIV wards, and any serious infectious agent affecting patients, those patients are taken to Yaba Mainland Hospital. It is our Center for Infectious Diseases.
Part of the team at that center is Professor Sunday Umilabu, one of the country's top virologists. He was also at the center of the fight against the Ebola virus in Lagos in 2014.
We are more wiser now. So in terms of diagnosis, I would say we are battle ready. So unlike the Ebola where we use biosafety level 2, now we have biosafety level 3 that is actually required for respiratory-borne viruses, of which coronavirus is one. So in terms of diagnostics, so we are battle ready. It's only for us not to miss the case.
Despite its heightened preparation, this city and Nigeria at large would be seriously hoping the coronavirus does not make any landing here. The country's health authorities are currently battling to contain a Lassa fever outbreak that has claimed about 40 lives and infected around 200 across 19 states. So you definitely don't want the coronavirus to be brought into that mix.
Coming up, African stories. Many African countries working to forestall coronavirus entry. And later, international news. Britain close to Brexit later tonight. It will become former member of the European Union. Welcome back. This is ANN News. Now to African stories. Just like we heard in the last report about the break about Nigerians' contingency plans against the novel coronavirus, South Africa also says it is prepared to tackle the disease. It has activated the country's top laboratories and is screening anyone arriving from flights originating from Southeast Asia. Raina Delkame has the story.
In South Africa's Western Cape Province, the Department of Agriculture and Veterinary Services have just launched a state-of-the-art Biosafety Level 3 mobile laboratory. This unique world-class lab is expected to play a major role in identifying high-risk infectious diseases caused by bacteria, viruses and parasites that spread between animals and humans. And if needs be, it could also be used to test for the deadly new coronavirus.
I'm particularly happy that researchers and scientists all over the world are currently working together to make sure that they contain this particular virus as it affects human life. And for us, it is important to make sure that we also protect our citizens that will be traveling all over the world from this virus. And facilities like this can greatly help in terms of picking up the virus, do diagnostic assessments, and so we are greatly happy for this great facility.
Here in South Africa, we are learning from the experiences that other people are having from China, but also other places where passengers and patients with this infection arrive. But it's very early days, so there's a lot of uncertainty and there's only a few things we know for sure.
South African health authorities say surveillance systems are in place to rapidly identify and detect any cases of the novel coronavirus in the country. This includes the screening and monitoring of anyone with a relevant travel history or close contacts with the area of the virus outbreak.
What we do know in South Africa is that anyone arriving who would be carrying this new infection should be recognized as soon as possible, because then they can be treated under isolation and there are special precautions to avoid a further spread within the country.
South African airports, hospitals and laboratories are on high alert and confident that they are ready to act.
On a different note, the potential for coronavirus entering Egypt is posing new threats to the country's tourism. How do we mean? Reporter Yazer Hakim explains.
Mu'taz Sidqi is head of one of the largest tourism companies in Egypt. He works extensively with the Chinese market. He says the coronavirus has been a blow to the tourism industry.
Chinese market is one of the very important markets to Egypt. It's considered among the top 10 producing markets to Egypt, and we receive almost around 5 flights every day. Since the 29th of January, according to the coronavirus, we're receiving the ban of flights to come to Egypt, and this affected the flow of business to Egypt badly.
So far, 30,000 reservations have been cancelled from China, and more expected on a daily basis. The Tourism Chamber had announced that 24 companies that work with the Chinese market are set to lose $15 million because of these cancellations. The tourism industry has just been recovering from the political fallout of 2 uprisings and threats of terrorism. It has posted record revenues in 2019, but now there are fears that the coronavirus could be an unwarranted setback. Egypt has been an attractive destination for China. The number of Chinese tourists to Egypt have more than doubled in the last 3 years. But Sidqi says the sector has become equipped to deal with unexpected events like this one.
I believe 20% of the companies have really affected, but now they are working hard to compensate these losses. There is always alternative markets that we are seeking for, and especially Europeans are increasing, and other markets. The Egyptian market has to think of new destinations and ideas to offer it to the China market. Once we are sure that this coronavirus will be more and more limited.
For now, the remaining Chinese tourists are expected to leave Egypt end of the week. No date has been set for the resumption of flights from China.
The passenger that was quarantined in Ivory Coast earlier in the week has been released as it tested negative to the coronavirus. But Angola has detained and hospitalized the patients believed to be infected with the virus. Health officials say exam samples of the patients are being sent to South Africa for analysis. They say results from the test conducted in Angola point to a common flu. Hospital sources say the patients and all those with whom they had contact are under surveillance at the health unit. The patient was said to have entered the country from China earlier this month. He had gone to the clinic after feeling sick. The Angolan government announced a contingency plan last Saturday to prevent possible cases of contamination by coronavirus, and more than 170 persons have so far died from the disease. When we return, international news. Britain close to Brexit later tonight. It will become formal member of the European Union. And later, sport. NBA to honor late Kobe Bryant with a new NBA All-Star Game format. Welcome back. This is ANN News. On the international scene, the new coronavirus has been declared a global emergency by the World Health Organization as the outbreak continues to spread outside China. Head of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, says the Wuhan coronavirus outbreak has become a public health emergency of international concern, but advises governments not to impose travel or trade restrictions on China. Ghebreyesus says this became important because of the danger that coronavirus could be devastating if it spreads to countries with weak public health systems. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department has warned its citizens not to travel to China. More than 200 persons in China have died from the virus, mostly in Hubei province, with almost 10,000 cases nationally. The day is here. Brexit is only hours from becoming reality. After 3.5 years, 3 prime ministers and seemingly continuous votes in parliament since the 2016 Brexit referendum, Britain becomes the first ever country tonight to leave the European Union. The UK will officially end its 47-year membership of the European Union to enter a transition period scheduled to end in December. When this happens at 11 p.m. London time tonight, Prime Minister Boris Johnson will address the nation in what can be presumed to be an optimistic message. Other Brexiteers will celebrate in grander style, while Remainers will hold protest events all over Britain. The Union flag will be removed from all EU institutions, and senior EU politicians will probably make statements that this is a sad day for Europe and that they want to remain the closest friends with Europe. European Union leaders say the remaining 27 united countries in the Union can tackle climate change and technological transformation despite losing a member state for the first time. European Council President Charles Michel, EU Parliament President David Sassoli, and EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen gave speeches on the future of Europe in Brussels early on Friday. The EU reminded Britain on Friday it cannot expect the highest quality access to the single market unless it adopts EU standards on the environment, workers' rights, tax and state aid. EU headquarters in Brussels will lower British flags later on Friday. The UK embassy to the EU will similarly lower the bloc's flag. From Saturday, Britain will be a foreign country and its officials will have restricted access to EU offices and internal communications. Diplomats of the EU 27 were reminded no longer to freely share information with Britain. U.S. House of Representatives has voted to repeal a 2002 war authorization in a move to block President Trump from taking military action against Iran without the approval of Congress and to bar him from using federal funds to mount an unauthorized strike against Iran. The Democratic-controlled House says the action was necessary to reassert congressional authority over war powers. The repeal authorization passed by a 236 to 166 vote, while the funding measure on Iran was approved by 228 to 175. The actions for... Up next, sports. National Basketball Association to honor late Kobe Bryant with a new NBA All-Star Game format. Please stay with us. Welcome back. This is ANN News and Sport. The U.S. National Basketball Association, NBA, has taken a decision to honor the life of Kobe Bryant by changing the format of its 2020 All-Star Game in Chicago. The new format is set up to maximize money that can be won for charity. The biggest change comes in the form of an untimed fourth quarter and a target score featuring Bryant's number 24J. Each quarter will be treated as a mini game lasting 12 minutes to give each team a chance to win money for local charity. At the end of the third quarter, each team's points will be added up for an overall score. At the start of the fourth quarter, a target score will be determined by adding 24 to the lead team's overall score. 24 is the number Bryant wore for the second half of his NBA career. The Sun newspaper is reporting Manchester United will let Paul Pogba leave in a court price deal this summer after finally signing Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. Fernandes signed a €55 billion deal on Thursday night and is viewed as the perfect man to fill Pogba's attacking midfield position. That is the ANN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a wonderful weekend.